All right, I started doing this because I'm sober now. And I don't know if that was the reason why, but that was the push for sure. Definitely I've always just wanted to rant about random shit, I guess. But yeah, 2.5 weeks sober now. And I think this is it's the climb, head ass. Yeah, this is when it starts getting a little rough in the paint, if you will. Because yeah, shit's tough, life's tough, dude. Damn it, this fucking jack keeps on rolling up. There's the H for, I don't know, hospital. But on the real though, yeah, 2.5 weeks, right? Let me see, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah, more than 2.5. And, you know, that last week, I think. Yeah, it was last week for sure. I don't remember Monday or Wednesday or Thursday or whatever day it was. It was a thing I wanted to do, and I just never owned up to it because I was like, oh, what am I gonna post about? But I was just like, who cares, bro? You just gotta rant it out. Just gotta let the thoughts out. Gotta let exercise the demons a little bit, you know? Because again, it's 2.5 weeks of sobriety, and the demons are kicking my ass, brother. I tell you what. Yeah, those motherfuckers are deviants. They're just pushing in my head, like trying to drag me down, try to go get a drink, try to do stuff. You know, I don't want to incriminate myself. Nothing crazy though, nothing crazy. It's all legal in certain states of the country, but yeah. First day of sobriety was like, I'm fine, I can do this, I'm strong enough. First week, yeah, we're cool, bro. Like, we're in a healing journey, you know. But then here we are at week 2, and this is the climb, bro. Like, it just starts getting hard. You gotta let them bitches out. I'm not gonna succumb to the thoughts of like, wow, I'm just stressed. And I'm really stressed. Majority of work. But the real thing that's really kicking my ass is just thinking about life, I guess. I don't know what the fuck that was. I heard something. Maybe over there. Whatever. It's dark. It's late. They're crazies out right now. We gotta be on the lookout. But yeah, man. Week 2 is when the thoughts really start to simmer, and you really just, you know, let them in. I feel like as men, we don't really, I know I'm just jibber yapping over here, saying a whole lot of nothing with no fulfillment, no essence. But I think you just gotta make sure you're mentally safe, mentally content with your life, whatever the hell that looks like. If you want to exercise, go exercise. If you don't feel good about yourself mentally, just sit there and think it out, and it sucks. You know, people tell you, go exercise, yeah, start working out, but nobody talks about how the low of your life, if you will. That motherfucker's gonna keep knocking on the door, bro. That comfort, it's gonna keep putting you in that position of like, hey man, we're here, we're cozy up in this bitch, you know. It's never gonna let you get out, because I kind of understand all the, oh, you just gotta get after it, you just gotta go do it. And it really is that, like, and people say, oh, it's that simple. But bro, it's not that fucking simple, dog. Like, there's a lot of us walking around. You know, I'm a young adult. I just turned 27 yesterday, actually. Crazy, bro. Crazy. Time goes by so fast. But anywho, you know, I went through life without thinking about myself like that. Just because it was always oh, dog, you're fine, man. You get to go to school and, you know, after 9 years old, I say I had an easier life. The biggest struggle I had at that point was just, you know, mom had to work and she would leave like at 4 a.m. and wouldn't come back till like 5, 6 p.m. And at that time she's tired. And, you know, I, as a child, I refer myself in third person a lot. If you do that too, don't do that. Refer to yourself as first person, because that's when your brain really starts absorbing all this shit. You really start thinking about like, oh yeah, that's me. This is what I'm going through. You know, you gotta own that shit. You gotta accept your own bullshit. Whatever that bullshit is, man. It could be small, it could be big. Man, before I moved in with my mom, I lived with my grandma in Mexico, and I went through a lot of abuse. Yes, through my grandma, but not just through my grandma, bro. Like, there's just demons out in the world, bro, unfortunately. And anyways, yeah, the major struggle I had was just, you know, my mom worked all day, and then she'd get home, and I wouldn't want to be like, oh, hey, I need this or that or blah, 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 blah. Because, one, I knew we were poor, and I didn't want to ask for nothing, because I was like, most likely I'm going to get told no. One. And two, you couldn't even ask your mom, oh, hey, can you cook dinner or something like that? Because you didn't want to add stress. I didn't want to add stress. See, I'm doing that third person shit again. I didn't want to add any stress. I didn't want to add any more mental fatigue, weariness, if you will, to her day. And yeah, that's a whole thing, dude. Like, as a kid, I was just like, oh, I don't want to be a bother. I don't want to bother anybody. And it just slowly, like, that mentality, you know, through going through so much shit as a child, that mentality, like, just grew me into just always floating in the air. You know, those little tumbleweeds. That's what they're called. I've always been trying to, you know, it's funny how when you're on the spot, you can perform. Well, I can do that. Because I could not for the life of me think what the tumbleweed thing was at all. The word tumbleweed until right now. But anywho, yeah, I went through life as a tumbleweed, bro, on the road, just floating, you know, from one side of the road to the other. And whatever wind came, I went along with it. I didn't ask for much, I would say, you know. Like, yeah, maybe you ask for like, oh, hey, I need a new pair of shoes, because, like, you know, your shoes are like worn out at the bottom and they're slippery as hell and you're falling, you know. Or like your boxers got some holes in them and you're like, hey, I try to use these as much as I can with these holes, but look at this big ass hole. Now it looks like I only got one boxer covering one leg type shit. But, you know, besides like little clothes, and I feel like mostly what I asked for was clothes when they were like really worn out, and that was like maybe every like couple of years. But at the same time, you know, you're a kid, you're growing up, you're getting big. I got big as fuck. I was a big ass child. But yeah, so I didn't have many struggles, you know, besides that with my mom. And nobody really, I mean, how the fuck do you? Nobody tells you as a kid, hey man, not having a dad's gonna fuck you up. Not growing up with a male role model in your life's gonna fuck you up. And not like it's gonna make you a shit person, but it's gonna, it's called daddy issues apparently, bro. You can Google that shit. And yeah, you just become insecure in attachments and like all this other nonsense. But at the end of the day, it affects you mentally, bro. It affected me mentally for sure. And just Google what daddy issues mean. And it's kind of a lot. It does affect you a lot mentally. It like forms you a bit different for sure. Yeah, it just forms you a little bit different, man. And it's not good for the brain. It's not good when you're an adult. You become an adult and you're not well, quote unquote, you know. And you go your whole life. The reason why I was explaining the whole mom thing, or the struggles I had, because I went my whole life just, oh, you gotta get good grades, and I tried my best to get good grades, you know, in school. And sometimes you do good, sometimes you don't do good, but they're fine, you know. I got through. And then after the good grades thing, it's like, oh, you know, you don't get in trouble. Oh, you know, make sure you come home on time. Those were the things, again, tumbleweed, right? Just floating around in the air. And I never told myself or asked myself, what the fuck do I want to do in my life? So my entire life, I was just like, okay, I got to listen to my mom. And all her thing was always, she always told me this, just go to school and get good grades and you're going to go to university, which I ended up doing. And then you go to university and then you become a young adult without any expectations from life, but you also don't give life any expectations, you know? You don't expect anything from life, but in life, you're not telling that, oh, hey, dude, I expect this out of your own head. And that's really bad. And you gotta exercise that shit, man. You really do gotta exercise it. Because if you don't, you end up getting lost in the sauce. Oh, hold on, let me see. Can I turn this up a little bit? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's as far as we go here, I guess. But yeah, man, you just you get lost and you're just a tumbleweed floating in the air. Wherever the wind takes you, you go. And you don't really know who you are. You don't know your true self. And as an adult, it's fucking hard, bro. It's fucking hard, like, not being biased by all the traumas you've been through. If you've had any traumas, you know, no matter how little they are, bro, don't ever fucking diminish your own traumas, bro. Like, legit. Even if it's just like, I'm lucky I never got like my ass beat or anything like that. Like, I lost the fight, but like, it wasn't like a beating. But even let's say you got your ass beat and you end up bleeding and all this shit, that's a trauma, bro. That's a traumatic experience. Like, children shouldn't go through violence, you know, and that's a violent event that happened to you, dude. It could be that simple. It could be people constantly harassing you and calling you shit, calling you names and all this stuff, and it affects your development, dude. Like, if you didn't have a solid core, like being young, dude, I moved my entire life. I moved 17 times, 16 or 17 times. I have, and I'm 27. By the age of 26, I had moved already 16 or 17 times. I'm forgetting, but it's one of those two numbers. And I just never had a solid core of friends, of morals, of boundaries, of anything. And you really just got to deal with your mental shit, man. And that's for me. That's what I'm noticing now, that I don't have all these things and I have to form all those things. But it's fucking hard, dude. Everybody's like, oh, it's so simple. Just think about it. Just do it. You know, just go exercise. But like, there's all these other thoughts and things in your head and all these habits that you build throughout time, you know, bad habits, good habits, whatever they are, that don't let you fully be there. And again, it's that cozy bear just telling you, hey, bruh, I'm here. Just come back to bed, honey. Like, you know, we'll be cozy here. We'll be fine. We'll be protected. You'll be cool. But getting after it is really hard when you don't have a solid brain, when you don't have a solid mental. And that's the first step to sobriety, is dealing with the demons, bro. I'm telling you, 2.5 weeks later after being sober, like the stress amplifies so hard, because you're just like, damn, bro, I want to go have a drink or do this or that, you know, go have a smoke or whatever. And getting over that hump is so fucking hard, dog. You need to find community. You need to go to church and find a group. It doesn't have to be a church group. Just find a group at church. Even this little ass town that I live in right now has community, has church groups. I found a group that is hosted at church, but they're not a church group, you know? And they've been helping out a lot, dude. And I've only been there twice. But step one is just cure your mental, dude. There's a child crying. Or is that a cat? I don't know, that's creepy though. I gotta go inside, but yeah, dog, just take care of your fucking brain, take care of your thoughts, exercise those demons, let them bring you to make hard decisions. Don't be a tumbleweed like me where you're just obedient to anything and everybody. You have to say no. You have to have the ability to say no. You know, that's the one thing. I have a son right now, and he's 2, and he says no when he doesn't fucking want to. When he doesn't want things. Like the other day, apparently, my girl said that they were at the store and some old guy like rubbed his head. You know, old people shit. You know, they're, oh hey buddy, and he's like no, and I was like, bro, I can't fucking do that. I would have just like walked by like, hey, like, huh? Like, what's going on? Instead of me being like, yo, don't fucking do that, which is how I would have really felt. I would have been like, yo, what are you doing? Like, you know, at most, instead of being like, no, don't fucking do that. And it's not because, ooh, my whole life I've always been like, oh, I'm kind of a bitch and a pussy and I can't stand up for myself. But I just been conditioned to be obedient and not retaliate and just be a tumbleweed, bro. And if you want to be that person that's able to stand up for themselves and say no, that you got to exercise that shit, dude. Again, you got to exercise those demons, man. I feel like throughout time, we're just told as men, like, oh, you're such a pussy because you can't do this, or you're such X, you know, negative word because you can't do X. And in reality, it's just how you were bred, dog. It's how you were bred, literally how you were raised, what you went through in your childhood. And you got to change that. If you don't change that, nobody's going to change that for you, dude. And if nobody changes that for you, you're going to be stuck. You don't want to be stuck. You want to be better. You want to be happy with yourself. One thing, the best thing I've learned is a life that feels good is better than a life that looks good. And I think nowadays, it's 2025 right now, November 2025. And the one thing that I'm noticing really hard is one thing I'm noticing really hard is the fuck, I lost my thought. It was the importance of fucking something. The importance of, oh man. So I was saying something about how being bred and all this shit, how you grow up. You just gotta exercise your demons, dude. You have to practice whatever it is that you want. You want to exercise? Fucking go exercise. You want to have a better mental? Sit there with your thoughts for like a minute at a time, 2 minutes at a time, 3 minutes at a time, 5 minutes at a time. There you go. That's what I was going to say earlier. It's coming back to me. And we're in 2025. Social media has this fucked up thing, at least for me, because I grew up in high school. I graduated from high school 2016. And that was like, the surgence of social media was so crazy, bro. Like, it was popping up so many places everywhere, and everybody just posts their happy moments, dog. Nobody posts like, well, nowadays you do get those people, but for the majority, like friends and family that you know, like that are near to you, that you have like on any social media apps, they ain't gonna post their tragedies, their mental roughness, the hurdles they go through life. They're always gonna post themselves when they go through happy times, and you know, when they're being cool, and when they're happy, when they're having good moments, when they're on vacation. Never when they're up at night at 3 a.m. crying over like some bullshit there. And it doesn't even have to be, oh, a relationship, boo-hoo. Nah, I'm talking about like, you never know, bro. Like people, their resurgence of their sexual abuse from them when they were kids, or like maybe it happened to them yesterday. You don't know what fucking people go through, man. And it's a fucking war in everybody's fucking brain, dog. The worst thing you can be is on social media all the time, comparing yourself to all these people that you don't know. You don't know their internals. You don't know how they work. You don't know their fluidity. And even your best pals, you know, sometimes you don't know their vulnerable spots. You don't know their mental war that they've been through, you know. A buddy of mine, I respect this man. He's older than me. He's like, what, 6, 7 years older than me, 8 years older than me, something like that. And I respect his wisdom, man. But the other day I told him, damn, bro, for you to have this much fucking game to put me on like that, you must have gone through some shit. And he's like, bro, I was in solitude for a while in my 20s, and I had to because I needed to figure out what the fuck was going on in my head. And that man's probably been through some shit, bro. But again, we're really good buds, and yeah, that's just something we haven't really, talked about. I know some of his stuff, but not everything. And again, you don't know anybody. And I don't trust this man with my life, right? If I needed to, I'd make him sign, you press a button, whether Brian dies or lives. I trust him, and I still don't know his shit, man. Again, don't be on social media fucking comparing yourself to people, bro. Like, look, the whole blabbing I was doing earlier about not having direction in life and being a tumbleweed was because, look, real quick, I went to college and then got out of college, and then I got a job immediately, bro. The day, so it was during COVID, so we didn't have a graduation or anything, unfortunately. COVID 2019 pandemic thing, shit, whatever. And I didn't have a graduation, but as soon as I got out of school, I ended school on a Friday, and I was full-time on Monday, dog. No, it's bullshit. I ended school, then I was working my internship full-time. I think it ended May 29th, 2020, something like that, on a Friday. And I started my full-time job, from full-time internship to full-time job. Quit my internship Friday, started working full-time Monday, bro. And it's just like, bro, like, give yourself a break sometimes, too. You don't need to be fucking a slave. You don't gotta whip yourself so hard, dog. But I could have had a week off and I would have been just fine. But you just thought you have to get a job right after school, and you gotta start providing for yourself and paying your own bills. And it's so bummy to live with roommate. I don't know where the fuck these ideas came from, but like, oh, it's bummy to have a roommate and not have your own place and not have your own stuff. So I was like, all right, I can get my own shit, bro. So I had my own apartment. It was empty, bro. I didn't have any furniture, no shit. And now look, I focus myself so hard on just working and providing a good life for myself, like monetarily, financially, that I'm struggling, bro, in my mental. Like, it's such a struggle up in my fucking head, dog. Like, you go your whole life just focusing on achievements that other people tell you they mean something. And of course it did, bro. Like, it's cool to, like, have a good job and make decent money. And, like, I have a house now, look at these fucking cool lights that I have and all this stuff. But I think I would, and, I hate saying that because I hated when I was pretty poor myself. Before I got my internship, that's when I started making real money, well, above minimum wage, I should say, not just real money. But when I had my minimum wage jobs, dude, it was just kind of like all these rich people don't know what the fuck they mean with I'd rather, not have money and be mentally sane. But it's true, bro. To an extent, because when you're like really, really, really fucking rich, bro, you can afford the fucking healthcare, bro. Me, I barely got to a point where, like, I can afford my bills and pay for my mental health care. And I just started about like 4 weeks ago or so. I can barely afford my fucking mental health care, bro. It took me so long. Things are expensive, bro. But that's for another day. But I would trade anything to have always been mentally sane, because I literally have always been chasing the day that I could pay my own fucking medical bills off, because I knew I needed therapy. I knew there was something wrong, bro. Like, I had an itch that something was going on. But yeah. You have to take care of your mental before you go out into the world and do crazy shit, Like, imagine a soldier. I'd rather be a mentally sane soldier so I can come back home and be like, you know what? I saw some crazy shit out there, bro. There's some traumatic stuff that I should probably go talk about, instead of coming home with just PTSD and not recognize that I went through PTSD and not talk about it with anybody and have a random crash out like 20, 30 years down the line, bro. You have to take care of your mental, man.